So if I start from here and I go up, down, and back up, this completes one full cycle, one full period. So my period is what? 2. Yeah. If you measured from like max to max, this is from like negative 1.5 to positive 0.5. That's still a distance of 2. Okay. The equation, and it's asking us for C. So C, remember, there's kind of a couple of options. You could just start by graphing it. So negative 1 here. If B, your period is 2, amplitude is 1. All right, so cosine starts halfway through is a min, and then the other halves are halfway. And then I can go back this way. So what I've drawn in pink is the cosine function without either left or right from one peak either way, either direction. I'm moving one block. So this max, shifting it over there. My C could actually be a positive pi over 2, that's left, or negative pi over 2, that's right. Either way I moved one block, I'm going to be on the black part. So pi over 2. Problem is using lots of words, but you're going to read through them and just kind of mark out what you know. With a constant rate. Provides a representation of the yo-yo in an xy plane with the direction indicated. So it's like t equals 0 seconds, the yo-yo begins to rotate. The yo-yo is at the start position. At t equals 5, the yo-yo has completed. So it's gone around 20 times. And what you can kind of do, this is going to give you your period. It's really your number of seconds divided by your number of rotations. So 5 seconds, there's been 20 rotations, which means that for every 1 second, there's 4 rotations. So every second, it's gone around 4 times. Okay, or it takes 1/4 of a second to get around once. That's what that's meaning. So from here, if you'll look at your functions, your b value is different on all 4 of those. So if you could figure out B, then you can easily get your answer right away. And remember, B is 2 pi over the period. So 2 pi over 1/4. Which is 2 pi times 4 over 1, which is 8 pi. So when you divide by a fraction, that's the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal. So instead of doing 2 pi divided by 1/4, I did 2 pi times 4 over 1. And my B is 8 pi, which automatically means it's going to be D. But your number of seconds compared to your number of rotations, that gives you your period on these kinds of questions. And we didn't really need to do anything further. Now there is one very similar to this on your worksheet that I'll go over with you, because you can't find the answer choice just by finding B. So I'll show you how to get the rest of that. Okay. All right, a clock is mounted on the wall, and the point P is located at the tip of the minute hand of the clock. The function h represents the height of point P, so this could be possibly, I haven't read enough to know for sure if it's pointing up, and I can redraw it if needed. And it tells me, it looks like, based on these problems, of course we don't know what the real AP exam will look like, but it looks like you might be given this every time, the A sign, so you don't have to really remember that perfectly. So h of 0 equals 70. So what that means is that at 0, does it say minutes, 0 seconds, at 0t, the height is 70. So if this is 0, that's going to be 70. And h of 30, so I guess this is minutes, because at 30 minutes, it's going to be 52. So that's a maximum value and a minimum value. So it just tells us, I really didn't need to know that it was a clock. We want to know the values of A and D. So we're finding the amplitude and the midline. So we have 0, 70, that's a max, 30, 52 is a minimum. So if you're thinking about it kind of like a graph. So your amplitude and midline are associated with the Y values. So from 70 to 52, that is a total of what? How many units are between 52 and 70? 18. So the whole thing is 18. So your amplitude is going to be half of that. So your amplitude is 9. That's your A. And your midline, or D, is going to be 9 units between those. So either 70 minus 9 or 52 plus 9. Either way is 61. Any questions so far?
Wait, your midline is what?
61. So if your amplitude is 9, meaning there's 9 units between the tip top to the midline, or from the bottom up. So there's 9 units. So if we actually find, well, how many, if I count up 9 units, where's it going to be? 52 plus 9 is 61. Yeah, or if you go 70 minus 9, you're still going to be at 61.
Okay.
Alright, then we're going to see some problems, possibly like this. The average monthly temperature in degrees Fahrenheit for a town in central Indiana can be modeled by this function. You're probably going to get a calculator on this one. I wouldn't know that for sure. Based on the model, which of the following is true? So when you see a problem like this, some things that I am going to note. My midline is at 61.2. And the amplitude is 25.7, which means if I count up 25.7, I'll be at this height. If I count down 25.7, I'll be down there. So 61.2 plus 25.7 gets me up here. And 61.2 minus 25.7 gets me down here. So my maximum, so the largest value is going to be 86.9. So in terms of this problem, the largest degree, the warmest is going to be is 86.9 degrees. The coldest is going to be is 35.5 during this time. So the maximum temperature, 61.2. No, that's not accurate. We just said the maximum is 86.9. The maximum occurs at m equals 1 month. So we know with sine, normally this value would be at 0, but I've shifted it right 4. So this right here has x equals 4. The maximum is going to be after that a little bit. It's not going to be that one. Look at A and C. I've seen several problems worded exactly like this. So try to see if it's A or C first. And if it's not, then you can go from there. Just go with C. If you have the other two, that'll be a little bit slightly harder. But try to get A or C. Alright, then we get to tables. Alright, and when you get to a table, you're going to be using the regression on your calculator. There's only a sine regression on here, so hopefully you'll get lucky and it'll function the table, and it's going to give us go to stat there's the one on the right, enter. Right here, hit enter. Always to go back and read over your numbers and make sure because if you type one number in wrong, it could really that, go over to Calc, and side regression. It look a little different. The iterations your problem should give you interval. That's going to be your period. Numbers. Trace and calculate. And so I'm just going to jot this down. You really, especially on the multiple choice, do not have to write it out. But I'm going to here. Alright, I didn't pay attention to this earlier. Notice how the B is not questions. I don't need it for this one. Honestly, you probably aren't ever going to need to really write all of this out. It makes a difference. The problem on the homework, I don't remember if they it's very slightly different when I change that 3 to a 16. Okay, so this question, you don't have to go change yours if you don't want. This question says, what is the maximum number of nighttime hours? So your maximum is going to be your midline. So your maximum is up here. Okay, it's going to be your midline plus your amplitude. So your max, it's your midline plus your amplitude, which is really D plus A. So I got 11.33 when I use these numbers. Let's see. And that's probably going to be about what I get on the other ones. But, yeah, it is 11. So if it does not tell you a specific number, look at the homework again. I get you just leave it as whatever pops up. That's 3 of this. Neither of the homework problems tell you a number of iterations, and I left it as 3, and I got the same answers as the answer key said. So you're probably good. I don't honestly know what difference that makes. All right, are there any questions?